Hello again. Well, one of my viewers sent me a rather interesting piece of information, and it was signed anonymous, so I can't give the author credit. But it starts off by saying, "Dear Dictator, it was you who told an Islamic dinner, quote, 'I am one of you,' end of quote. It was you who on ABC News referenced, quote, 'my Muslim faith,' end of quote. It was you who gave $100 million in U.S. taxpayer funds to rebuild foreign mosques. It was you who wrote that in the event of a conflict, quote, 'I will stand with the Muslims,' end of quote. It was you who assured the Egyptian foreign minister that, quote, 'I am a Muslim,' end of quote. It was you who bowed in submission before the Saudi king, King Abdullah. It was you who sat for 20 years in a liberation theology church condemning Christianity and professing Marxism. It was you who exempted Muslims from penalties under Obamacare that the rest of us have to pay. It was you who purposely omitted, quote, 'endowed by our Creator,' end of quote, from the recitation of the Declaration of Independence. It was you who mocked the Bible and Jesus Christ's Sermon on the Mount while repeatedly referring to the, quote, 'Holy Quran,' end of quote. It was you who traveled the Islamic world denigrating the United States of America. It was you who instantly, through the support of your administration, behind the building of the Ground Zero Victory Mosque overlooking the hallowed crater of the World Trade Center. It was you who refused to attend the National Prayer Breakfast, but hastened to host an Islamic prayer breakfast at the White House. It was you who ordered both Georgetown University and Notre Dame to shroud all vestiges of Jesus Christ before you would agree to go there to speak. But in contrast, you never requested that the mosque you have visited adjust their decor. It was you who appointed anti-Christian fanatics to your Czar Corps. It was you who appointed rabid Islamists to Homeland Security. It was you who said that NASA's foremost mission was an outreach to Muslim communities. It was you who, as an Illinois senator, were the only individual who would speak in favor of infanticide. It was you who were the first president not to give a Christian greeting from the White House and went so far as to hang photos of Chairman Mao on the White House tree. It was you who curtailed the military tribunals of all Islamic terrorists. It was you who refused to condemn the Fort Hood killer as an Islamic terrorist. It is you who has refused to speak out concerning the horrific execution of women throughout the Muslim culture, but yet have submitted Arizona to the UN for investigation of hypocritical human rights abuses. It was you who, when queried in India, refused to acknowledge the true extent of radical global jihadists and instead profusely praised Islam in a country that is 82% Hindu and the victim of numerous Islamic terrorist assaults. It was you who funneled $900 million in U.S. taxpayers to Hamas. It's actually him and Hillary Clinton. It was you who ordered the USPS to honor the Muslims' holiday with a new commemorative stamp. It was you who directed our UK embassy to conduct outreach to help, quote unquote, empower the British Muslim community. It was you who embraced the fanatical Muslim Brotherhood in your quest to overthrow the Egyptian president, Hosni Mubarak. It was you who funded mandatory Arabic language in culture studies in grammar schools across the country. It is you who follows the Muslim custom of not wearing any form of jewelry during Ramadan. It is you who departs for Hawaii over the Christmas season so as to avoid past criticism for not participating in seasonal White House religious events. It was you who was uncharacteristically quick to join the chorus of the Muslim Brotherhood to depose Egypt's Hosni Mubarak, formerly America's strongest ally in North Africa, but remain muted in your non-response to the Brotherhood's led slaughter of Egyptian Christians. It was you who appointed your chief advisor, Valerie Jarrett, who is a member of the Muslim Sisterhood, an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. You can no longer deceive the American people. The enemy is within, and we clearly see who and what you are. Well, I totally agree with everything that this anonymous person wrote. The question that I have is, okay, so now what? Well, what this administration has been able to do is take control of every facet and aspect of our government. The military is under his control. General Dempsey is in the bag, as are pretty much anyone and everyone else that could impact change. Now they can't. Think of all of the things this usurper has done to negatively impact the American way of life. And he's allowed to live better than a king, better than a queen. You know, if you're a new viewer of mine, the royal family goes through about $560 million a year to live in their lifestyle. The chosen one, with Michael and those two kids that they got from Morocco, they cost the American taxpayer about $1.6 billion a year. 3 times what it costs to support the entire royal family. You think he's having a good time? I do.